Hi, thank you for your order. We're super excited for you to get started on your next adventure with Micro Safari Horizons. In the kit, you'll find the Horizons Monocular Microscope, the Horizons USB camera, Micro Safari Terra, Micro Safari Aqua, blank slides and cover slips, prepared sample slides, a rocket dust blower, and a lens tissue booklet. Using your microscope for the first time. Inside the box, we got the microscope itself, the dust cover, power supply, and the world's tiniest hex key. Keep an eye out for this thing. Don't lose it. You need it in order to get the eyepiece off of the microscope itself. This is a battery-powered microscope, so you're going to need to put in the rechargeable batteries. This is the coarse focus, and this is the fine focus. These microscopes have a set screw right here that is an end stop for the Z-axis, so if you're, for some reason, not able to move the stage all the way up as much as you need to, you might need to loosen this little screw right here. Use the coarse focusing knob to move the stage all the way down and put one of your prepared sample slides onto the stage. It doesn't really matter which one, but I like the pine stem and I'm using it here. Plug in the microscope, which also charges the batteries, and turn the LED switch into transmitted light illumination mode. You can tell it's on because this LED will be lit up. Rotate down the 4x objective and place the sample so that it's in the very middle of the stage. Look through the eyepiece and turn the coarse focus knob to move the stage up until you have an in-focus image. When you look through the eyepiece, you'll notice that there's a pointer in the very center of it. And I think this pointer is not really all that useful, and it's in fact kind of annoying. So if you'd like to take that out, you can take the eyepiece out, and then when you flip it around, you can get a look at where that actually is inside of it. It's a little wire that sticks out, and you can just take a pair of tweezers here, and you can just take this little wire out of it, and that's it. Pointer's gone. Let's optimize the illumination. Here's the dial to adjust the brightness, and under the stage, there's an aperture turret that you can turn to change the size of the aperture of the transmitted illumination to sort of approximate what a typical microscope condenser does. You can move between the biggest aperture and the smallest aperture to see what the differences are. They're pretty much indistinguishable though, so I recommend you just set it to the largest aperture and forget about it. To increase the magnification, rotate down the 10x objective and refocus using the fine focus knob. You can do the exact same process with the 40x objective. Setting up the camera. In order to remove the eyepiece, look for the world's smallest hex key and use it to loosen the ultra-tiny set screw on the underside of the eyepiece tube until you are able to remove the eyepiece. Now, you can take the USB camera, remove the protective cover, and put it in the eyepiece tube. Then, just plug the USB cable into your computer and use it like a webcam. You don't need to install the software included on the CD-ROM that's included in the box. On Windows, open up the Camera app, or on Mac, use the Photo Booth app. You may need to switch cameras if you have a webcam integrated into your computer already. If you're on Linux, you don't need me to explain how to use a webcam. Using Micro Safari Aqua with Horizons Lite. For instructions on how to find samples and how to fill Micro Safari Aqua, see the Micro Safari Aqua dedicated setup video. Otherwise, here's some general advice for using Micro Safari Aqua with Horizons Lite. First off, turn the side with the gas exchange polymer face down. This is the side opposite of the one where you took off the protective film. This will give you the best image quality. Let the slide settle for a couple minutes so that the debris and microorganisms sink down to the bottom of the slide. This is where you're going to find the most microorganisms. Micro Safari Aqua only works with the 4x and 10x objectives because it's too thick to use with the 40x. And finally, you'll want to use the microscope in transmitted light illumination mode. Using Micro Safari Terra with Horizons Lite. For instructions on how to care for Micro Safari Terra, see the Micro Safari Terra dedicated setup video. Otherwise, here's some general advice for using Micro Safari Terra with the Horizons Lite microscope. Number 1, you'll want to remove the slide clamps with a number 2 Phillips screwdriver. This will give you more room to move the slide around on the microscope stage. Move the stage all the way down and place Terra on top of the stage. Then move the stage up until it's in focus. You'll need to use the microscope in reflected light illumination mode. If your sample's too dark, you can use a desk lamp or other light source and shine it on the top of Micro Safari Aqua. You'll want to use Micro Safari Terra with the lowest magnification objectives to start. Like Aqua, you can only use the 4x and 10x objectives due to working distances. You'll notice condensation happening wherever you shine the light. If you leave it in that spot for just a few minutes, the condensation will turn from tiny droplets that block the light into large droplets that can be viewed through and are pretty interesting to look at in and of themselves. Cleaning and taking care of your microscope is an absolute breeze if you just follow a couple of basic steps. Number 1, keep the dust cover on when not in use. Number 2, never touch any glass or lens or put it into direct contact with anything that could transfer oils or other contaminants onto the optics. Number 3, never wipe off optics with a microfiber cloth or lens tissue without first blowing off any loose dust. Number 4, don't use solvents to clean your microscope unless there's a reason to. And number 5, cover up open ports if you remove components for an extended period of time. Removing dust. You're welcome to use the Rocket Air Duster to remove dust from your lenses on your microscope as much as you want. There's no harm to doing extra dust removal. You can use a microfiber cloth to remove dust from all the other places on the microscope as well. You'll note that modern microscopes have optical systems that are designed to keep dust from interfering with image formation as much as possible. There are only really a few spots where dust will create shadows in the final image. If you're seeing shadows of dust when you look into the microscope, there are a couple of places to check. Number 1 is the top stage glass. Number 2 is on top of your microscope slide. Number 3 is on the outside of the eyepiece. This won't show up as shadows from dust, but will manifest itself as a reduction in clarity of the final image. And number 4 is inside of the objective itself. You can take the objective off of the microscope, look through it like a lens up to the light, and you should be able to see if there's any dust in it. Cleaning oils or dust that can't be removed with the dust blower. It's inevitable that if you use the eyepieces enough, your eyelashes will touch the lenses and you will contaminate them with oils that can cause dust particles to stick to the glass stronger than you can blow them off. Start by trying to blow off any dust, then drop some regular old isopropyl alcohol, aka rubbing alcohol, onto the eyepiece. Using either the included lens paper or just a clean microfiber cloth, wick away the majority of the isopropyl alcohol. Now, because the lens is below the metal of the eyepiece, we'll need to wad up the lens paper and push it into the lens. You shouldn't need to apply significant pressure, but you do need to apply enough so that the clean lens paper makes full surface contact with the lens. Wipe in a linear-ish motion until the lens looks clean. If you're unable to get rid of streaks, you may need to use a brand new dry lens tissue to remove the remaining residue. You can use gloves for this, or just don't touch the surface that you're putting into contact with the lens. These glass optics don't have any special coatings, so we can get away with pretty straightforward, unsophisticated cleaning techniques. I don't recommend that you use this method to clean optics outside of this context. And that's it. Thank you again for your order, and feel free to reach out with any questions at info@microsafari.org.